So we just have c into x of t. Okay. Now write the state. We'll take one example and we will solve. Then you can get easily understand the general structure of the state model. So write the state space model for the equation. This is the given equation. You have y triple bar plus 3y double bar plus 2y single bar plus y, which is equal to r of t. Now choose the state space variables. So first, this is the a procedure to solve this problem. First, you have to identify the state variables. So to identify the state variables, choose the state variables. How do you choose the state variables? Now, since I have the input equation which starts from x bar, so first I will start assigning these variables to this y. Okay, so I will assign x1 to y, x2 to y bar, and x3 to y double bar. So once you have identified states variables, I will not worry about this as of now. Just assign x1, x2, and x3. Then you have to now state equations. Write the state equations to differentiate the above equation. So why do you have to differentiate the above equation? We want the first derivative of all these terms. So x1 dot will be what? In case of x1, you know that it is y. So write it as y dot. Since x1 has a dot or a bar, you have to represent y also with a bar. And but what is y bar? Y bar is x2. So write down. Now x2 bar is equal to x2 bar is equal to x2 bar is already x2 is y bar. So x2 bar will be y double bar, which is equal to x3, as y double bar is nothing but x3. Similarly, now x3 bar will be equal to y triple bar, correct? And you, what is that you have to do now? You have to differentiate this. Okay. So when you differentiate, you know that you will get the term as minus 3y. Sorry, one second here. X3 bar is equal to y triple bar. You will get the equation as minus 3x. That means now you want this y triple bar. We are not differentiating. You want this y triple bar. So y triple bar will be, it is equal to r of t, okay, plus r of t, and you move these variables to the other side. So it becomes minus 3y double bar minus 2y bar minus y plus r of t. So you can see that we have written this. Now replace these terms with the variables which we have assigned to y. So it will be minus 3, x3, minus 2, x2, because y double bar is x3, y bar is x2, and y is x1 plus r of t. So retain it as it is. Please make a note of whatever I am explaining here. Okay. Then the above equation are written in the matrix form. So you have to now write down in matrix form. How do you do that? X1 bar, x2 bar, x3 bar, you put it in one matrix, which is equal to, now you can see for x1 bar, you can see that we have x2. So what about the x1 and x3 terms? They will become 0. So 0, 1, 0. Now x2 bar will be what? It is x3. That means x1 and x2 will be 0, and in the place of x3 you write it as 1. X3 bar, it will be equal to, you can see here you have x, which is minus 3. This is x1, this is x2, and this is x3. So in the column of x3 you have to put it as minus 3. In the column of x2 write the coefficient as minus 2. In the column of x1 write the coefficient as minus 1. And then write down those variables x1, x2, x3 plus, what is this? You have to consider r of t. R of t is 0, 0, 1. You have to write it down like this. That means you have just 0 here, x1, x2, and this is just a 1 from here, from this. Uh, okay, let me just do this for you. So this is the way you have to write down. You have to write it down as 0, 0, and 1. Now x bar will be equal to what? You know this equation. It is a into x of t plus b into r of t. Now, how do you, right now you have to concentrate on the output equation. So output equation, how do you write? It is y is equal to x1, or y is equal to, what is this? You have to write it down as 1, 0, 0. X1 is 1. You can see here for y. Here is output equation y, c into x of. So it will be where you can see for y, with respect to y, you can see x1 and x2 here. x1 is 1 and other two terms are not there in this equation. So in place of x1, you will write it down as 1 and this is 0, 0. Now, how did you get this? You can see from all the three equations, there is r of t in this equation. So that I have taken it as 0. There is no r of t in this equation, so take this as 0. But there is r of t in the third equation for x3. That's why I have taken this as 1. Similarly, here y is equal to x1. You just have only x1 term, so that's why I have written it as 1. And other two variables x2 and x3 are not there. So just replace those variables with zeros. And once you do that, write down these variables as it is x1, x2, and x3. So therefore, what is y? It is c into x. Therefore, y is equal to c into x. So this is how you have to arrive at the input equation as well as the output equation. So this it should match with the standard equations which we have derived in the state model. So I'll just summarize this problem once again. So we have this write the state model. State model means you have to write down the input equation and the output equation. So this is how the equation is given in terms of y and t. So I will just write it in terms of x because we have the input equation which talks about x bar. If you first you have to write down the state variables. So assign y with x1, y bar with x2, y double bar with x3, then write down the state equations. So x1 bar is equal to y bar, which is x2, x2 bar is equal to y double bar, which is x3, x3 bar is equal to y triple bar, which is equal to, you do not know what, because you have not assigned to any of the variables. So from this equation, find out what is y triple bar, which is equal to minus 3 y double bar, minus 2 y bar, minus y plus r of t. So once you do that, now substitute those, replace those y terms with the corresponding x variables. So this will be minus 3 x3 minus 2 x2 minus x1 plus r of t. Now the above equation are written in the matrix form. So this is the general form of the state model. So you have to write down that. I have not written the general form here. I have directly written the variables or assigned variables here. So how do you write in this matrix form? Take down this as one matrix, x1 bar, x2 bar, and x3 bar as one matrix, which is equal to. So here for this equation, I told you you have only x2 term, so the other two becomes 0. From here I will start. This will be x1 column, this will be x2 column, and this will be x3 column. So write it 0, 1, 0. Second equation, you have only x3. So at that place, you make it 1, the rest other variables will be zeros. And for x3, you can see that you have to write down the coefficients. So you have minus 3 in the column of x3, minus 2 in the column of x2, and minus 1 in the column of x1. And you write down these variables x1, x2, and x3 plus r of t. So r of t in this equation there is no r of t, so it is 0. In this equation also there is no r of t seen, so it is 0. But in the third equation you can see the presence of r of t, so write it as 1 into r of t. So this will give you x bar. This whole thing I will replace it with capital X bar, which is equal to a into x of t plus b into r of t, okay, plus b into r of t. So you just have to write down this. This is the general form. So you have to write it down in this way. This complete matrix is A, and this is x of t plus this is b into r of t. So output equation is just y is equal to c into x1, right? C into x. So how do you write that? This will be the equation for y is equal to x1. From this equation above here, you know that what is y here? So y is equal to x1. So how do you write that? Since you have only x1 variable here, so this will be 1, 0, 0 into x1, x2, x3. So therefore, you have y is equal to c of x. So this is the kind of problems that we will be doing in space analysis. This is one part. We have to study two more categories. One is the transition matrix, and one more is about the electrical circuits. So that we will do it in the next class. So take down this problem now. Represent the given equation in the state model. form. Okay. Just a minute. Make a note of this equation. So I will just give you this equation and I will tell you how to replace this. The rest I think you can try to do. So represent the given equation in the state model form. It is d cube y by dt cube plus 3d square y by dt square plus 6 dy by dt plus 7y, which is equal to 2 into u of t. So in place of r of t, we have here 2 into u of t. So how to write that? Since this is a cube, you can represent that with y triple bar plus 3y double bar plus 6y single bar plus 7y, which is equal to 2 into u of t. Now start assigning the variables here. So here x1 will be assigned to y, x2 will be assigned to y bar, x3 will be assigned to y double bar. Then differentiate the above equations. So here x1 bar will be y bar, which is equal to x2. x2 bar is y for double bar, which is x3. x3 bar is y triple bar. So y triple bar, how do you find? From this equation, you have to write down what is y triple bar. It is minus 3y double bar minus 6y bar minus 7y plus 2 times u of t. So now you have to now replace these terms, correct? Now here y double bar, okay, they have just rearranged here in the increasing order of the derivative. So it is minus 7y minus 6 bar minus 3y double bar plus 2 u of t. So this is minus 7x1, so because y is x1, y bar is x2, y double bar is x3, and write down or retain this 2 u of t as it is. From this, now you have to form the matrix. How do you form the matrix? Write down x1 bar, x2 bar, x3 bar, which is equal to, in the same way how we had written the previous one, seeing the equations, you have to write down this matrix. So you have 0, 1, 0 from first matrix, sorry, from first equation, then you have second row from the second equation, and third row of the matrix from the third equation. So you have to write down the coefficients. So this is minus 7, minus 6, and minus 3. And write down x1, x2, x3 plus what is this? If you see here in all the three equations, where u of t is present, it's not present in the first equation, neither in the second one. It is seen only in the third equation. So at that place, you have to write down the coefficient of u of t. So coefficient of u of t is 2 into u of t. So from this, you will get this completely, you replace it by x bar, capital X bar of t is equal to, this will be A matrix into x of t plus B matrix into u of t. So this is a state equation. Call that as equation number 1. Then output equation. So you know that y is equal to x1 and x1 is just 1 here and other, there's no x2 or x3 in this equation. So those terms will be 0, followed by a matrix of single column x1, x2 and x3. So this will represent the output equation, which is y is equal to c into x. So 1 and 2 represents the state model. I hope you have followed this, how to solve these problems are very simple. So you can try this. So just do this problem. 4 into c triple bar plus 2 into c double bar plus c single bar plus 2c, which is equal to 5 into x of t. So do this and tell me whether were you able to solve it or not. You can leave the message in the chat box. Okay, I hope you have understood this. So just follow the same steps and just solve this one problem here now. Okay, do it. I'll stop sharing the screen, write down the problem. 4c triple bar plus 2c double bar plus c bar plus 2c, which is equal to 5 into x of t. Write down and solve it and see whether you are able to produce those two equations. I'll be here. If you have any doubts, you can just let me know in the chat box. All of you just mark your attendance now. Copy down the problem and mark the attendance now.